You are standing in the tunnel, and the blue shirts in front of you look calm. Too calm. The stadium is shaking above your head. The cameras are everywhere. And across the halfway line, another country is trying to convince itself that France can be beaten. Then you see the problem. It is not just one superstar. It is not just one golden generation. It is a machine wearing a national shirt. This is what makes France terrifying. Not that they win. Not even that they produce great players. It is that every time the world thinks one French team is finished, another one walks out of the tunnel with stronger legs, colder nerves, and a new way to hurt you. So why did France become the team everyone fears? To understand that, you have to forget the idea that France was always a football empire. For much of the 20th century, France was talented, romantic, and dangerous on its day, but rarely inevitable. You could admire France. You did not always fear France. There were flashes. Raymond Kopa danced through the 1950s with a low center of gravity and a mind quicker than the defenders around him. Just Fontaine scored 13 goals at the 1958 World Cup, a record that still feels unreal because it came in one tournament, not a career. France finished third that year, beautiful and explosive, but not yet permanent. Brian Glanville, in The Story of the World Cup, wrote about tournaments as moments where football nations reveal their deeper character. France, for decades, revealed something seductive but fragile. Technique, imagination, drama. Then, too often, disappointment. You are not feared yet. You are respected. There is a difference. In 1982, that difference becomes painful. You are in Seville, under the floodlights, in one of the most famous World Cup semifinals ever played. France have Michel Platini, Alain Giresse, Jean Tigana, and Luis Fernandez. This midfield is nicknamed the Magic Square, because 4 players keep giving each other angles, little passing lanes, tiny escape routes from pressure. In plain English, it means your midfield always seems to have one more option than the opponent. Against West Germany, France lead 3-1 in extra time. The final feels close enough to touch. Then it disappears. Germany come back. The match goes to penalties. France lose. What does that do to a football country? It teaches you that beauty is not enough. 2 years later, at Euro 1984, France finally turned beauty into a trophy. Platini scores 9 goals in 5 matches, including the opener in the final against Spain. France win their first major title. For a summer, the country sees what happens when elegance grows teeth. But France still does not become the team everyone fears. Not yet. Because fear requires repetition. Fear requires proof that your success is not a miracle. Fear requires a system. The first great secret of French football is that the system was being built before the world fully noticed. Clairefontaine, the National Football Institute that became one of the symbols of French player development, helped turn raw street talent into disciplined elite footballers. Around the country, professional academies, regional scouting, and immigrant suburbs all became part of the same football story. David Goldblatt, in The Ball is Round, connects football to the societies that produce it. France's rise is not only a tactical story, it is also a story about cities, migration, public institutions, and the strange way a national team can become a mirror for a nation that is still arguing about itself. You can see that mirror in 1998. You are walking into the Stade de France, and Brazil are waiting. Brazil are the defending world champions. Ronaldo is the most frightening forward on earth. Roberto Carlos runs like a cartoon cannonball. Rivaldo can make a ball, obey him from angles that look impossible. France are at home, yes, but the opponent is the myth. Then the match begins. France do not play like a team asking permission to win. They play like a team closing doors. This is the second great secret of French fear. The world remembers Zidane's elegance, but the foundation is control. Didier Deschamps screens the midfield. Emmanuel Petit runs with a quiet violence. Christian Karembeu covers ground. Lilian Thuram and Marcel Desailly defend like the penalty area is private property. Bixente Lizarazu gives balance. Fabien Barthez waits behind them, bald and fearless. A defensive block is a simple idea. It means the team moves together without the ball, closing spaces so the opponent has nowhere comfortable to pass. France in 1998 do this with discipline, power, and intelligence. Then Zidane rises. Once. Then again. 2 headers from corners, both before halftime, both against Brazil in a World Cup final. The most elegant player on the pitch does not beat Brazil with a magic dribble. He beats them with his forehead. Isn't that the warning? France can hurt you in the way you expect, and then in the way you do not. Petit scores the 3rd in stoppage time. France win 3-0. The country explodes. The phrase black blank beer becomes attached to the team, a shorthand for a multi-ethnic France celebrating itself in blue. But the football lesson is colder than the celebration. France have found the formula. technical genius on top, physical power underneath, tactical discipline around both. That is when respect begins to turn into fear. The strange part is that fear grows even through failure. In 2000, France win the European Championship with another golden squad. In the final against Italy, Sylvain Wiltord equalizes at the death, and David Trezeguet scores the golden goal, which was a rule where the first goal in extra time ended the match immediately. France are world champions and European champions at the same time. Then comes 2002. No goals, no wins, out in the group stage. A normal football nation might be broken by that. France are embarrassed, but not erased. The talent pipe keeps flowing. Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, Claude Makélélé, Robert Pires, William Gallas, and more. The faces change, but the profile remains. Strong, technical, fast, difficult. In 2006, Zidane returns France to the World Cup final almost by force of personality. Jonathan Wilson, in Inverting the Pyramid, often traces how football tactics evolve through space, pressure, and control. Zidane in 2006 feels like the opposite of evolution. He feels like one man slowing the whole sport down to his personal rhythm. Against Brazil in the quarterfinal, France do not just survive. They outthink them. Zidane glides between lines, which means he receives the ball in the dangerous pocket between Brazil's midfield and defense. Thierry Henry scores from a free kick. Brazil are gone. Then the final against Italy becomes legend for the wrong reason. A Panenka penalty, a header, a red card, a walk past the trophy. France lose the shootout, and Zidane disappears into history. Again, beauty is not enough. Again, the lesson returns. But France keep learning. The next great turn is not about Zidane. It is about Deschamps. When Didier Deschamps becomes national team coach in 2012, he brings a football idea that is not always loved, but is extremely hard to kill. He values balance. He values structure. He values players who understand that international football is not club football. In club football, a manager can train patterns every day for months. In international football, your team gets short camps, tired players, and very little time. So Deschamps builds something simple enough to understand quickly and strong enough to survive chaos. A counterattack means you win the ball and attack before the opponent can reorganize. France become one of the most dangerous counterattacking teams in the world because they have defenders who can defend deep, midfielders who can steal the ball, and forwards who can turn open grass into panic. Then comes 2018. You are not watching the most romantic team in Russia. You are watching the most complete one. Kylian Mbappé is 19 and runs as if the pitch is tilted downhill. Antoine Griezmann connects midfield and attack. Paul Pogba can hit a pass over 40 meters like he is opening a door. N'Golo Kanté seems to cover two positions at once. Raphael Varane and Samuel Umtiti give security. Olivier Giroud does not score, but he becomes a wall for others to bounce off. This is another tactical term made simple. A target forward is not always there to finish. Sometimes he is there to receive long passes, hold the ball with his back to goal, and bring faster teammates into play. That is Giroud. That is function over glamour. France beat Argentina 4-3 in a match that feels like the old world being chased by the new one. Mbappé sprints through the center and wins a penalty. Later, he scores twice. Lionel Messi is still brilliant, but the match belongs to acceleration. France beat Uruguay with control. They beat Belgium with patience. They beat Croatia 4-2 in the final. The score sounds wild, but France are never truly wild. They bend the game toward moments they like. A set piece, a transition, a second ball, a quick shot from distance, a penalty, a mistake forced by pressure. That is why opponents fear France. You can have more of the ball and still feel hunted. You can look comfortable and still be one sprint away from disaster. You can survive Mbappé for 80 minutes, then lose him for 2 seconds and lose the match. In 2022, the fear becomes even stranger because France arrive injured, disrupted, and supposedly vulnerable. Pogba is gone. Kanté is gone. Karim Benzema leaves the squad before the tournament. Presnel Kimpembe and Christopher Nkunku are also missing. And still France reach another World Cup final. Aurélien Tchouameni steps in. Adrien Rabiot plays with maturity. Griezmann reinvents himself as a creative midfielder, not a pure forward. Olivier Giroud breaks France's men's scoring record during the tournament. Mbappé becomes the player nobody wants to see running at them in space. In the final against Argentina, France are second best for most of the match. Then, in 97 seconds, Mbappé scores twice. The first is a penalty. The second is a volley so clean it feels like a threat sent into the future. Argentina eventually win on penalties, and Messi completes his story. But France's story does not end. In fact, the defeat makes the fear sharper, because even when France are outplayed, They are not gone. Even when the match looks finished, it is not safe. That is the modern French aura. It is not invincibility. It is the feeling that the door is never closed. So what actually made France the team everyone fears? Not one match. Not one player. Not one generation. It was the combination of a development system, a huge talent pool, tactical flexibility, physical power, and a national football culture that learned to value beauty and ruthlessness at the same time. Brazil taught the world to dream. Germany taught the world to suffer efficiently. Italy taught the world that defending could be art. France learned from all of them, then built something hybrid. They can produce a street footballer with soft feet, a sprinter with terrifying pace, a defensive midfielder who steals the ball without looking violent, a center back who passes like a playmaker, and a forward who does not need many chances to punish you. This is why the French shirt feels heavy now. When you see it in a knockout draw, you do not just see 11 players. You see 1984. You see 1998. You see 2000. You see 2006. You see 2018. You see 2022. You see a country that keeps returning with a different face and the same warning. The warning is simple. France do not need the perfect game to beat you. They only need one weakness: a slow defender, a loose pass, a corner poorly marked, a midfielder facing the wrong direction, a fullback caught too high, a goalkeeper taking one extra touch. That is enough. The counterintuitive truth is that France became terrifying not by choosing between romance and realism, but by refusing to choose. The same country that gave you Platini and Zidane also gave you Deschamps and Kanté. The same shirt can carry imagination and control. The same team can look sleepy for 10 minutes, then destroy you in 10 seconds. Today, every fan recognizes this. You watch a modern match and see a team dominate possession, completing pass after pass, feeling safe. Then France win the ball. One pass goes forward. Mbappé turns. The crowd makes that small rising noise before anything has happened, because everyone already knows what might happen. That noise is fear, not panic. Recognition. The world has seen this movie before. You are standing in the tunnel again, and the blue shirts in front of you still look calm. Too calm. Now you understand why. They are not waiting for the game to become beautiful. They are waiting for it to become theirs.